What's wrong, old man Rothschild?
Oh, it's just these newfangled pendulum decks. When I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, a pendulum deck was three things: inconsistent, unable to play non-engine, and bad. But now these Powers Patron are up at top tables like it's Pepe format.
Well, you know there's a new pendulum deck out.
There is?
Yeah, and it's bad.
Yippee!
Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. The legendary Arc 5 decks are out now, and unfortunately every single one of them requires an overframe that hasn't been released yet to work. Rather than play the worst pendulum deck you've seen since 2020's endless conga line of Baron and Apo slop, we're just gonna close our eyes and pretend it's September. Presenting Odd Eyes Magician. So here's the list. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. As we settle into the 2026-2027 season of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, it pays to stay ahead. And whether you're competing at a YCS, a local, or even a European event, there's only one place you can keep totally up to date with what's topping. If you're not into competitive, you're in luck. It's also the most robust site around for drafting, sealed play, collection management, and new card releases. There's a reason nearly every other piece of Yu-Gi-Oh! Infrastructure pulls, at least in part, from their database. Head to the source at YGOPRODECK.com. Now back to the video. With that, let's ogle over Odd Eyes. Odd Eyes has been the black sheep of Yuya's strategies for years. While Performa Pals were half of one of the most broken decks of all time, and Magician's been a piece of pretty much every good pendulum deck ever, Odd Eyes has been relegated to some terrible starters or a garnet in an otherwise fully realized strategy. These days, they're mostly just a name you pronounce as part of a rank 7 before summoning an archetypal Omni. And with Pendulum pivoting away from the slop decks that made up pre-COVID Yu-Gi-Oh!, it seems the time for the swinging scaly has come and gone. Or has it? Odd Eyes has something that other Pendulum decks never will: nostalgia. Despite what your lying eyes may tell you, there are Gen Zers who miss Arc 5, and they'll pay through the nose in millennial droves to get their fix. The new Arc 5 decks therefore have a card that revolutionizes the archetype, and Magnificent Monsters has a few extremely powerful new big trains of Yuya's other aces. We are playing them in a shell that also makes use of the newest powerful Pendulum Pals, the Patrons, for a true-to-form Pend Slop build. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up are newbies. Astrograph Sorcerer, the Starfrost Magician, as a pendulum effect. During your main phase, can destroy this card and put a pendulum monster whose pendulum scale is 1 from your hand or deck into the pendulum zone except itself, but it can't activate its pendulum effects this turn. And as a monster, if a face-up monster card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, then special summon one of those destroyed monsters from your graveyard or face-up extra deck, and during the main phase, you can perform a fusion of a dragon fusion monster by shuffling materials from your field or face-up extra deck into the deck. After that, we've got 3 copies of Horoscope Sorcerer, the Stargazer Magician. When a spell card or effect activated by your opponent resolves, if you control a Magician Pendulum monster or an Odd Eyes monster, you can negate the effect and destroy this card. Now that negates without responding. Can you think of maybe a situation where that might be super relevant in a build-a-board strategy? As a monster, you can discard another Magician Pendulum monster, perform a Pal monster, or Odd Eyes monster to special summon this card from your hand, and if special summoned, you can add a Pendulum monster with 2500 attack from your deck to your hand, and you can target one Pendulum monster card you control, destroy it, then you can add a face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. After that, we've got 3 copies of Monkey Board, 3 copies of Skullcrobat Joker, 1 Astrograph Sorcerer, 1 Stargazer Magician, 2 copies of Vitalim, 1 Nervado, 1 Junidolo, 1 Jupredo, and 1 Shade the Obscure, which does some really unbelievable stuff in this strategy you'll see in the replays. We're playing a Medius as well as 3 Pendulum Call, 3 Prohibited Power Patron Portal Terminus, 1 Theo Realize, and 1 The Gaze of Timaeus. That's right, it is a DMod deck. Finally, for non-engine, we're on 3 Ash Blossom Joy Spring, 2 Drone Lock, Call by the Grave, triple Dominus Spark, and triple Infinite Impermanence in the extra. We have a Nerva, who is part of a combo line, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, who we will cycle twice, Secretary on Dragon, Dark Magician of Destruction, Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon for our Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, Varudris, Zena's Deceiving Doll Maidens, and Charmer Quartet in Bloom. God, I'm sick of saying that. Odd Eyes Override Dragon, who can be made with 2 monsters, including a Pendulum monster, and can target a card you control, destroy it. If you do draw a card, then during your turn, when your opponent activates a card effect, can discard a card to negate that effect. If you destroy a Pendulum monster card by the card's first effect during your main phase this turn, you get to Pendulum Summon again, but only Performapals, Magicians, or Odd Eyes monsters. Finally, we've got a WP Fancy Ball, Exceed the Pendulum, SP Little Knight Beyond the Pendulum, and a Purification Power Patron. In the side, we've got Triple Mole Charmyfulos, Triple Ghost Ogre, and Snow Rabbit, 2 Lightning Storms and Harpy's Feather Duster, a Tactics Talents, a Crossout Designator, Triple Dominus Impulse, you can, and 1 Solemn Judgment. So with that, let's check out some games. Our first match is up against Elf Note, and we are going first. Our opponent has 3 pieces of non-engine, so you'll get to see how this deck plays into interaction. We'll begin with a copy of Astrograph Sorcerer. They will Ash Blossom that. A little scary. We'll follow it up with a Skullcrobat Joker, which will grab us from deck to hand. New Astrograph. We'll activate the effect of the Shade the Obscure in hand, then activate its effect on field, taking 1,000, targeting the Astrograph and setting a Gepredo. We'll trigger the effect of New Astrograph in hand, summon back the Astrograph and Gepredo for the Prohibited Power Patron portal. We will activate that in order to send a Nervado and grab a copy of Vitalim, and then we will link off our copy of Absolute to get a copy of Vortex before we start going off. Beyond the pendulum triggers here, we're going to go for Junodolo and Vitalim, and what do you know? That is Scales. We will summon 2 monsters, the Gepredo and the Performapal Skullcrobat Joker. Then we'll activate the Junodolo effect, and the Odd Eyes Override Dragon. Now that we have Negate up, we can safely go for scary stuff, Vitalim here, and then scale Vitalim, scale this Nervado, and then use the extra Pendulum Summon to bring out the Stargazer and the Skullcrobat Joker to go into Purification Power Patron and exceed the Pendulum. We will exceed the Pendulum, use its effect in order to bring back Astrograph, and make a Dark Magician of Destruction to grab ourselves a copy of Gaze of Timaeus. Finally, we can go for the effect of the Vitalim to bring back this Junodolo. That's a 10 for our Varudris into Charmer Quartet in Bloom. They're going to go for the effect of Bestial Magnema. We can activate the Odd Eyes Override Dragon to negate, and we will go ahead and resolve it for a copy of Dark Dragoon before passing back to our opponent. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Lucina. They'll activate the effect. That's worth a Dragoon to us. They'll chain Harmonia. We'll chain Vortex Dragon, and that's going to send that to the yard as well as their Lucina. Afterwards, they're going to go for Fallen of Albaz and activate the effect, but that is ripe for an infinite impermanence, and then 1 card versus 1 negate just isn't going to do it. Bestial Magnamut into a Varudris Final Bringer of the End Times means we can clear their field, and they'll pass back here. We do lose our Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, but we already have lethal on board. We can Quartet in Bloom a couple of cards here. They will activate the effect of Magnamut. We can once again use Override Dragon to negate it, and then afterwards we'll have enough monster attack points to beat our opponent to death. So that's how the deck performs on the play, but what does it do on the draw? Well, less. Pendulum has always had kind of a love-hate relationship with the concept of non-engine. We're playing a lot, but you do have to draw it. Our opponents going first are going to begin with a copy of Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils, and pretty soon it becomes clear they are on Azamina Rolad, really powerful deck. They'll go for the effect of their Deception here. Now that they've activated a spell, they can demod and grab a Magician's Souls. We will Ash Blossom the activation of the Deception of the Sinful Spoils, because we're about to lose the ability to do anything, as they go Magician's Souls into Griffo, and trigger the effect of the Griffo for a Mind Shuffle. From here, they'll flip the Mind Shuffle, use the effect in order to grab from deck to hand a copy of Skull Archfiend, then pitch it, sending this copy of Light and Darkness Ritual and grabbing a Magician of Dark Chaos. They will shuffle as well, putting that Griffo back in deck as they bring back the Skull Archfiend of Chaos into Anima, into Cross Sheep, into Light and Darkness Ritual, shuffling back this copy of Black Chaos, which can be used as material for the Magician of Dark Chaos, Chaos Max. They'll trigger the effect of the Cross Sheep, and then afterwards they'll bring back the Magician's Souls, as well as the Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils to draw. They'll go for Triple Tactics Talents here. They will take 1 of our powerful cards on their way to Protect Code Talker and Firewall Dragon, bringing back the Protect Code, triggering the effect of the Wanted of Sinful Spoils to draw a card, then the Firewall Dragon in order to add to hand and go for Perulia. Finally, they'll go Charmer Quartet in Bloom, Zelantis, Charmer Quartet in Bloom to summon back the Magician's Souls and the Skull Archfiend, Zelantis to banish everything and return it. Here, the Skull Archfiend, the Magician's Souls, the Magician of Dark Chaos, Black Chaos, and the Charmer Quartet in Bloom. Selene will be summoned here, and Selene, of course, can bring back this copy of Magician of Dark Chaos into an Abawaku, set a card, and pass. Okay, let's see what we can get done here. We're going to begin with a copy of Gepredo. We're basically just playing Power Patron here. They're going to go for Abawaku, no big deal, because we can trigger the effect of the Gepredo in the face-up extra. They will Ash, we will Called by the Grave, and hopefully this works. Okay, let's go ahead and resolve that and grab a copy of Patron Portal Terminus. We'll activate it. They'll activate Mind Shuffle in order to get and pitch a Skull Archfiend of Chaos, and we will send a Vitalim and a Vitalim. Afterwards, they will grab this copy of BLS as we set Scales, Horoscope, and Vitalim. They'll activate the effect of Mind Shuffle to tag out and go into Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Light and Darkness. They'll banish the Vitalim, and yeah, that is it. Okay, they will go to the main phase, activate the effect of Light and Darkness Ritual in the graveyard, get back this Black Chaos, summon the Black Chaos, and that's more than lethal. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's on Branded. You know, it's not all going to be cool tune. We're going first, and you can see that they have a turn-ending hand trap in Droll and Lockbird, but we have a very fair card in Called by the Grave. We'll begin with a copy of Pendulum Call, grab a couple of new cards, PogChamp to our grip, into the Droll and Lockbird, into the Called by the Grave. Let's play Yu-Gi-Oh! Afterwards, we can go for the effect of our Horoscope Sorcerer. We'll activate the effect on field and grab a copy of Astrograph, sending new Astrograph. Astrograph effect here will pop, and summon out a copy of Stargazer Magician. Next, we'll trigger the effect of the Horoscope Sorcerer, and cycle back the Astrograph for an Astrograph. We will summon the Astrograph, add a copy of Horoscope Sorcerer, and make Beyond the Pendulum in order to grab from deck to hand a copy of Vitalim. We'll go for the Horoscope Sorcerer in our scale, as well as Vitalim, which is a 1 and an 11, which enables us to Pendulum Summon 2 monsters on our way to Override. We'll trigger the effect of the Override, popping the Vitalim and drawing a card. That's an interesting one. And we'll trigger the effect of the Vitalim for a copy of Terminus. We will send a Nervado and scale a Shade the Obscure, which is going to do a lot here. We'll perform our extra Pendulum here, 2 monsters into a Purification Power Patron, then Shade the Obscure to cycle itself back to hand, go Exceed, and then use the effect of the Shade the Obscure in hand in order to activate its effect on field. Finally, we will cycle the Gepredo to our face-up extra, trigger the effect of the Astrograph in hand, use its effect to grab another Vitalim, and then grab another copy of Terminus. We will set the Vitalim, activate Exceed the Pendulum, summon back this copy of new Astrograph, that's 2 7s for an Absolute, and Charmer Quartet in Bloom. We'll bring out the Vortex Dragon, trigger the effect of the Charmer Quartet in Bloom for 2 monsters, then go for a Dark Magician of Destruction from our Spellcaster. We will grab Gaze of Timaeus into Theo Realize, send a Medius the Pure. Afterwards, we will go ahead and activate the Medius the Pure in order to cycle back the Charmer Quartet in Bloom, get zones, and grab ourselves a copy of our last remaining Power Patron. We'll activate Vitalim here in order to cycle back the Purification, set our Ginoldo, and trigger the effect of the Nervado in order to summon Nerva. That is a 10, which means that we can use the effect of the Junodolo, summon out this copy of Gepredo, use the effect in the face-up extra, and then overlay for a Verudris. Finally, we will go Gaze of Timaeus to bring out a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon before calling our monster a Divine Beast because it's funny. Okay, this should be more than enough. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of the Fallen of the Virtuous. That'll destroy a card on the field, but not if my Dragoon has anything to say about it. Next, they're going to go for a Super Polymerization, which would usually be quite powerful, but of course we have the Negate on Resolution. We will Purification Power Patron for a Fancy Ball here as they go for our Fallen White Dragon. We'll trigger the effect of the Fancy Ball and the effect of the Charmer Quartet in Bloom in order to summon back the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon now that we have space, and negate the effect of their Fallen of the White Dragon. They'll go for Ecclesia. We will use Dragoon to negate it, and now they have 1 card versus 2 negates. So it's time for game 2, and who said they could open Overframes? Okay, well, we have a lot of non-engine here, so maybe. They're going to go for Branded and High Spirits. We will Ash Blossom this. They're going to go for Branded opening afterwards, and they'll grab an Aluber. Aluber will trigger alongside Farah here in order to summon herself back, and they will grab from deck to hand the Fallen of the Virtuous. Go to the main phase. It's Branded Fusion time. That's worth an impulse to us, and then afterwards, we're going to be able to normal summon a Cartesia and do pretty much everything anyway. Grand Ginual, they'll trigger the effect of the Grand Ginual for a Titaniclad, set a Fallen of the Virtuous, and then summon out a copy of Fallen of the White Dragon. That will trigger in order to get them a copy of Incredible Ecclesia. They'll trigger the effect of the Cartesia, and then pass back to us. This is like 15 points of interaction, even if it doesn't look it. We'll go for Performapal Monkey board. That's going to grab us a Skullcrobat Joker. We will normal summon the Skullcrobat Joker and use the effect for a Horoscope Sorcerer. We will pitch the other one and then trigger its effect on field into Grand Ginual, which gets them a copy of Quem. From here, we can grab an Astrograph Sorcerer. They go for the effect of Quem in order to send a copy of Kit, and we will scale Astrograph Sorcerer, activating its effect into a Fallen and the Virtuous. Okay, well, down he goes. We'll trigger new Astrograph Sorcerer, and then we can bring back old Astrograph Sorcerer. They go Incredible Ecclesia for Fallen of Albaz, then Fallen of Albaz effect in order to summon out the Dragon that devours the Dogma. That triggers both itself and the Guiding Quem, which enables them to shuffle everything back. Shocking. Finally, Cartesia, after Reborn, can go into Mixusa, the Confounder, into a Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon, to keep us on 1 monster. We'll walk over the Quem, they'll activate Rind Broom and bring back this copy of Fallen of Albaz, and then they'll trigger the effect of the Albion at end step in order to set another copy of the Fallen and the Virtuous. They'll cycle back the Branded in High Spirits as well as the Incredible Ecclesia, and we are just totally cooked. They're going to begin with an Incredible Ecclesia, go to the battle phase, and we'll just scoop. So it's time for that all-important game 3, and no, my one weakness! Anything! All right, we're going to go to the main phase. We'll activate Pendulum Call, pitch a card, add a couple of cards from our deck to our hand, go for the Horoscope Sorcerer, trigger the effect in order to grab an Astrograph, then set the Astrograph. We'll activate it, and there's the Fuelos. No response to this means that they're going to draw a million cards, or we're just going to have to stop. We'll go Skullcrobat Joker for a new Astrograph Sorcerer. We'll go Beyond the Pendulum. They draw a card off of this. We'll grab Vitalim. We'll set the Vitalim, and, you know, that is scales, so we can summon out Astrograph Sorcerer, and Shade the Obscure. They're going to draw here, and it's another fucking Fuelos. Dark Magician of Destruction here is going to get them a million cards. We'll go into an Odd Eyes Override Dragon. They're going to draw another million cards. and we're just going to have to play into it. There's no way around it. We'll go for the effect of the Vitalim and the Junidolo and the Power Patron Portal Terminus, as well as Vitalim's effect and scale to bring back the Nervado for Theo Realize, send a Medius the Pure. We'll look at the top of the deck and I guess put it on the bottom like it's going to matter. Then we will activate the Medius the Pure effect on field after using the effect in graveyard. Scale the Junidolo, set a card, and pass back to our opponent. We'll activate Gaze as early as possible, but Jesus. They'll go for Super Polymerization. We do not have the negation for that here, which means they're going to be able to fall on the Virtuous to destroy a face-up card. Here, the Medius the Pure. They'll use Mixus's effect, and then they'll normal summon Fallen of Albaz. We can go Astrograph Sorcerer the Starfrost Magician here, as they go for Lubellion. We'll trigger the effect of the Nervado, which enables us to get out a Gepredo. Maybe we don't die, but actually we do, because that's Mirror Jade. We'll go Junidoro, draw a couple of cards, and hey, an Ash Blossom could stop them, maybe. They'll go for the effect of the Fallen of the White Dragon. We will Ash it, and oh, well, they did draw Called by 2. I can't be too mad, because they did draw 15 cards. Afterwards, we're going to bring out an Incredible Ecclesia, trigger the effect of the Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon. Down goes the Rinbroom, down goes our monster, and this is over lethal. Okay, well, that's just the way it goes sometimes. So we're back with the deck, and let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, new card is good. Override is hand trap protection, and it gives you a second Pendulum Summon, which is pretty powerful. 2, the new Magicians are also really good. They're integral to these new boards, and they work perfectly with Astrograph. I mean, they should. They are Astrograph. And 3, Horoscope is a spell negate on Resolution, which is extremely powerful in a format where people are unironically playing Super Poly. And the cons. 1, the new card only lets you use Magicians, so it's just a negate and a scale pop for most decks, and it's only really a negate on your turn. And 2, you can only Pendulum Summon Magicians, so you're railroaded into playing the Magician package to get full value out of it. These cards are fine, but they're really not up to snuff in 2026. And 3, alright, I'll be honest, this is just basically worse DDD Sky King, but generic. All in all, this isn't the missing piece of Pendulum, but if you were missing pre-COVID Pendaslop, don't worry, it's back. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. These videos are made possible by, and occasionally suggested by, the fine patrons over at patreon.com, some of whom have paid top dollar to be mentioned at the end of this episode. They are, in alphabetical order, #UnbanMeowmoo, 116 Gaming, Absolutely Fran, Elena Tincher, Allison Elliott, Ally, Asdagophagus, APK Pearly Tier 0, Brett Henry, Cap, Silentia, Cool Name, Dark Rebel Xyz, Diego Santos, El Gravo, Emiliano Deverio, NB Adams, Era Rizuku, Fabrizio Petroli, Galactic Joey, Hongo Parongo, Hergalicious, Jackie Z, JP, Legal Rights, Lil Dip, Lucas Rosas, Luis Hernandez, Matthew M. Derezo, MBT Hablando en Español, MBT Play Madolce, Mike Carlotti, Mochichi, N54 Lionheart, Nacho, New Kira, Newly, Pan Paladin, Pombo, Rohan Doge, Rose Lapine, Serpentax, Shifter.mp8, Sly Ninja 43, Roy Says By Erasure is Gay, Who's Nick, Yuki Kazami, 0365, and Zircon Sun. I couldn't have done it without you.